All right, this one should be fun. Let me start this off by saying this is not going to be some kind of YouTube drama video, and I'm certainly not going to be calling anybody out, but there is some information that's being put out there that is accurate, but not for everyone. But I'm going to set it all straight and clear everything up. Believe me when I tell you, you are not going to want to miss this one. There's a whole slew of videos going around YouTube right now with super catchy titles like "Stop Doing Water Changes" and "Clean Tanks Kill Fish." And I have a huge problem with these. But here's the thing. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for me to blow this thing up and put these YouTubers on blast? Oh boy, look out. These other YouTubers are going to be gunning for me. They're definitely going to want to fight me when I see them at the next event. Oh well, you know, sometimes you just have to say the things that need to be said. So here goes. These videos are absolutely correct in what they're saying. But of course there's a catch. See, here's the thing. We live in a world where everyone's looking for things to be easy and convenient. We order everything from that big website and get 8 boxes a week left on our porch. We order pre-made meals off the internet because there's 2,000 YouTubers promoting it. We have robot vacuum cleaners, and we even have automatic feeders to take care of our animals because we can't take the time to do this. We have all become extremely spoiled and lazy. We're looking for quick and easy ways to make our lives easier. And hell, sometimes we don't even go for the cheapest. Some people will pay $40 for an $8 value meal from McDonald's so that we don't have to bother getting our lazy ass up off the couch and go through the drive-thru. On that note, you know what I just realized? I think it might be drive-thrus that started all of this. Oh man, I can get my 4,000 calorie meal that's going to give me heart disease, and I don't even have to get out of my car? Anyway, since the creation of the drive-thru, we've progressively gotten lazier and lazier, and we're so spoiled now that we're looking for the easiest way to do things with the least effort possible. I don't even have to turn my lights or my windshield wipers on in my truck. They just come on automatically. All right, rant over. With all this in mind, how do you think people with this kind of easy mode mentality are going to react when they see "Stop Doing Water Changes" in a video thumbnail? As a YouTuber, I see that and I'm like, that's pretty genius. But as a viewer that's looking to do as little work possible, I'm going to see that and be like, yes, I can stop doing all that work. And with that in mind, I'm going to watch that video and all I'm going to hear is, I don't have to do water changes. I'm not going to hear everything else. And for most of you, and yes, I said most of you, this could be a catastrophic error. So let's break this down and talk about it in the simplest terms possible. In those videos, they're talking about aquariums that are being set up in a very particular way to make the tanks function as their own ecosystem that takes care of itself. And they do. It's nature. But most people don't have aquariums set up that way. I've had 2 jobs that I worked for many years of my life that had me going into a bunch of people's houses every single day. I was a cable TV technician that had me going in sometimes as many as 20 houses a day, and most recently I owned a business repairing people's furniture in their homes. And that one would send me to somewhere around 10 a day. So believe me when I tell you, I've been into thousands of people's houses, and I would see aquariums all the time. Would I see big 150-gallon tanks that were heavily planted and low stocking of fish? Well, sometimes, but that was super rare. No, what I saw 9 out of 10 times was a 10 or a 20-gallon with a bunch of tetras, the water was down 4 inches, and all they had in it was a little castle and a plastic plant. Sometimes there'd be the 55-gallon with a couple Oscars, a Frontosa, and 3 silver dollars, and even those would have hang-on-the-back filters with a pirate ship and a skull that has bubbles coming out of his mouth. I really wish I had documented this. The sad reality of this is, if someone has one of those tanks I just described and they see a video that says "Stop doing water changes," they're going to be in a world of hurt if they implement this kind of strategy. And like I said, the smaller starter kit tanks with the blue gravel and plastic decorations is the majority of aquariums out there. I know you think everyone that has an aquarium takes care of them the way you do, but this just isn't true. We belong to a very small group of people that obsesses over our aquariums, and it's part of our lifestyle. But believe me when I tell you, we are in the minority. Most people have an aquarium because their kid got good grades, and after they had it for a few weeks, the kid lost interest and it became a decoration in the corner that they barely pay any attention to. And listen, like I said, I'm not making this up. I saw this every single day. How does the science in that kind of aquarium work? Well, the fish are in there, you're feeding them, they're pooping, and what happens? It creates ammonia. Thankfully, Mother Nature has provided us with bacteria that breaks that ammonia down and converts it into nitrite and then nitrate, which is much less harmful for the fish. But then what happens to the nitrates? Where do they go? Well, unfortunately, they don't go anywhere. There's nothing in the tank to get rid of those nitrates, so they just build and build and build until they get to a level that's toxic for fish. Have you ever heard of what happens if you start your car in your garage with the door shut? At first, everything's okay, but your car's exhaust produces carbon monoxide, which builds and builds, and if you're in there long enough, it'll overwhelm you and put you to sleep. Forever. That's the same thing that's happening in your aquarium. Those nitrates are building up and there's nowhere for them to go, and eventually, unless you do something about it, they're going to put your fish to sleep too. So how do we stop this from happening? Well, there's a few ways, but let's keep this simple and talk about the two most common ways. First would be water changes, and the second would be adding something to the tank that'll take care of those nitrates. And no, the castle from Frozen or the little Olaf figure is not going to do it. Sorry. When we do water changes, we're removing water that has that high concentrate of nitrates in it and then replacing it with clean water that doesn't have nitrates. The water also dilutes the nitrates that were left over in the tank, bringing them down even further. Life is good. And again, the second way is to add things that'll remove nitrates for you. What if I was to tell you that there's something that you could put into your aquarium that not only feeds off of nitrates, but also the nitrates help them out? Is that something you might be interested in? 10 points if you get that TV reference. It's true. There is something that does that. It's something that Mother Nature has produced for us, and it's a gift for fish keepers. Is it some kind of special filter? Well, I guess, yeah, you could say that. Is it something that costs a fortune? No. Is it something that's going to make my aquarium look really ugly? No. In fact, it's going to make it look much better. So what's the magic thing then? It's live plants. When you watch the videos on YouTube about not doing water changes or don't clean your tank, there's one thing that every one of those tanks they're talking about has in common, and that's live plants. Live plants feed off of nitrates. It helps them grow and it does the work of water changes for us. You feed your fish, they poop, which produces ammonia. The bacteria in the tank breaks the ammonia down and converts it into nitrite, and then to nitrate, and then the plants feed off of the nitrates. See, it's not that complicated. When you add live plants to your aquarium, you're creating its own little ecosystem in there. Everything in the tank has a purpose. As fish keepers, we're people that love nature, right? I'm willing to bet that most of you don't only love aquariums for the fish, you also love the nature side of things, so why not bring some of that nature into your tank? Listen, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. John has found a way to take this conspiracy and flip it around and turn it into a commercial for his website. And you'd be wrong. Yes, we carry live plants, Tropica plants in fact, which are the best out there, but I'm not here to sell them to you. I'm here to talk about the effect they have on the aquarium. If I'm being honest, I don't care where you buy them. I just want you to add them to your tank if you're looking for a way to make your tank look better and function better as an ecosystem, which means less work for you. So to recap, I want to be very clear here. Those videos that are out there on YouTube talking about not doing water changes and not cleaning your tank, they're accurate if your aquarium's set up properly. That's something that I don't think was made clear enough in those videos. It was put out there as if this is something that applies to everyone with an aquarium, and it certainly doesn't. If you're someone that has an aquarium that's lightly stocked with fish and full of plants, it's true. You're going to have to do very little water changes, if any. We have tanks in our collection that get small water changes maybe a couple times a year because they're not overcrowded and they're full of plants. With them being lightly stocked with fish, and a couple of them really only have one beta in them, there's not a ton of waste being produced. And what is produced is being handled by the plants. Everything works together to keep everything balanced and require very little maintenance. But I also have several tanks like my heavily stocked African cichlid tanks Oscar tank, and goldfish tank that don't have any live plants in them at all. So whatever nitrates are produced just sit there and fester. If I don't do water changes in them, the nitrates will get up so high that eventually it'll just kill everything in there. So please understand, if you have an aquarium full of a bunch of fish that you bought at your local pet store and your frozen decoration in your little pirate ship, don't listen to those videos. They don't apply to you. But if you're someone that has your tank set up to serve as its own balanced ecosystem, you can take every word that was said to heart. You are the one that video was made for. Oh, and by the way, if you're that person with the castle and no plants, it's not hopeless for you. You can add plants and build that system and someday be someone who rarely has to do maintenance. And I'd love to be the one that sells those plants to you. Just click the link in the description there below the subscribe and like buttons and order them up. We'll ship them right out to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you on the next one. Bye.